Hey, this is Derek Jordan. Welcome to the World Fusion Show, where we bring you the leading innovators in world fusion music. Today, my guests are Arun, Ramamurthy, and Trina Basu, who are Indian violinists with a strong interest in world fusion music. And it's just great to have you. Welcome, Arun and Trina, to the World Fusion Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having
us.
All right.
Yeah.
Great, so great. We're going to get to play later together, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Same here.
This will be awesome. Now, I wanted to just ask you guys, first of all, I'll say you guys are here in beautiful Vermont because you're doing a residency at Next Stage.
Right.
And you're performing actually this week, but unfortunately this show is going to come out after your performance, but I just want to let people know that's the reason for your being here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had a really great time.
Yeah.
We've been here for about 10 days now. We got about 4 more days left, and we got to know the community here, and we got to play a lot of music.
Yeah.
Got to be in nature. It's been great.
It's totally great. And you're up here with your kids, you are a couple, and you play together as a couple. That's just kind of an interesting thing, and we can get into that later. But I wanted to start just asking you a little bit about your background and how you got into music and your families and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, maybe I'll start.
Sure.
So I studied, born and raised in New Jersey.
Like me.
Like you, that's right. We talked about that, which is great. Jersey boys. And my parents are from South India. My father from Bangalore, a big city down there, and my mother from Andhra Pradesh, a small village in Andhra. And they came here in the 70s, in the early 70s. And but I was born in New Jersey, and I started playing violin, Western classical violin, when I started at age 8. I started playing Carnatic South Indian classical music when I was 10. And I did both simultaneously for many years. I was playing in orchestras, Western classical orchestras, and I was playing Carnatic music in community, centers and around New Jersey.
Yeah.
At some point, I decided that I wanted to stick with Carnatic music.
Right.
And from that point on, I didn't really look back. And I studied in India quite often. I went there, and after college, I lived there for about a year with my teachers and had a really intense sort of like gurukula, learning from my teachers in their home. And that's what really pushed me over the edge. And from that point on, I just absolutely fell in love with it, came back and started pursuing my career in New York City as a Carnatic violinist, but also doing a lot of crossover music, kind of bridging some of these musical worlds that I had interest in.
Yeah. So, Trina, what about you?
Yeah, I started playing the violin when I was 5, and I started in Western classical music in the Suzuki approach. And I grew up in Miami, Florida. I'm from a mixed background. My dad is Bengali from India, and he came to this country in 1968. And my mother is from Montreal, Canada. And so I grew up in Miami, and I grew up playing music, again, in orchestras, going to music camp. And then when I went to college, I really was interested in music therapy. So I studied music therapy in college, which was wonderful at Florida State. And I also, at that time, was introduced to different styles of music. And they had a great ethnomusicology department in my university. And so there is where I first started learning Indian classical music with a wonderful teacher.
Yeah.
And since then, like, my world kind of changed, because at that point, along with some jazz improv classes I was taking, I was opened up to the world of improvisation and playing music by ear more so than I had before. So later on down the road, I did get a chance to go to India on a grant and study for 6 months in South India, the Carnatic music style.
Right.
And so my path has been very diverse, and there's been a lot of different influences in my musical journey. But now I'm just, we have a duo together, and I play with different projects in New York City, and I'm also a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm an educator, and so,
That's right. That's great. I'd love to go to our first video, which is Lincoln Center offstage.
Right.
So you want to say something about that?
Yeah, this was filmed at the Rubin Museum of Art, which is a wonderful South Asian museum in Midtown Manhattan. And Lincoln Center Offstage Series is what sponsored this video and put this together. It is a song called Videsi, which was actually written by a friend of ours who's a sitarist named Neil Murgai, and it's part of an ensemble that we all play in together. So I think it's a 5-piece or a 6-piece ensemble.
Okay.
And we did this about 3 or 4 years ago.
All right. Great. Well, let's go and check out
Great.
this video right now.
Great.
All right, we are back with Arun, Ramamurthy, and Trina Basu. That's great. And you guys work with a lot of different groups. I know in New York, where you're from, Brooklyn, Raga Massive, and Go
Organic Orchestra, yeah.
with Adam Rudolph. You do a lot of things. Do you want to talk about some of your different projects that you do down there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we did most recently was a project that's bringing together Indian classical raga and maqam from the Arabic music region. So covering North Africa all the way over to India, really.
Yeah.
And we're working with Amir El-Safar, who's an incredible trumpet player, santur player. He's a jazz musician and is very versed in Iraqi maqam. So, maqam and raga really have very similar ways of expression. It's very lyrical. It's very like almost vocal centric. So even the instruments are playing the music in such a way, and it's very improvised. So we have a very large ensemble of 15 members, and we just played at Lincoln Center again, an outdoor stage.
Nice.
Over there right before coming here to Vermont.
Very nice.
That's one really awesome project.
That's part of Brooklyn Raga Massive, which
Right.
we're both co-founders and we've been part of for many, many years.
Right.
And so that's a project out of that collective.
That's a big group, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how massive is it?
It's gone through a lot of changes.
Yeah, it's gone through a lot of changes.
Started as a smaller group and then grew into more of a collective, and now it's more of like a nonprofit and presenting and
Yeah, presenting a lot of
creative.
different types of concerts. And, we had a weekly jam session that we're doing all pre-pandemic. For 7 years, every week we'd have a jam session and a concert.
Yeah.
Pandemic sort of slowed everything down, and now we're trying to
for
pick it
everyone,
back up.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
We're coming back though, right?
We're coming back.
Yes.
Yeah, coming back.
Yes.
So that's so great. And
Yeah.
I know you guys are super busy with many projects
Yes.
down
Yeah.
there. I was going to ask you, we're going to go to our next video. And this is a sort of a fusion, Bach and Indian raga. So want to say something about that?
Yeah, this was a piece that we kind of put together for an educational program at a great space in Brooklyn called Pioneer Works. It was for their education series during the pandemic, and so there were these video series that they were bringing to kids in the public schools. And so we love Bach.
Yeah.
all-time favorite.
Maybe the greatest composer of all time. But yeah.
Exactly. So we took this little fugue in G minor,
Yeah.
and it's based in kind of the harmonic minor tonality, and we fused it together with Kiravani, which is the Raga. Western scale for that is the harmonic minor scale. So Kiravani and harmonic minor scale kind of sound, similar but very different, because in the raga you add all sorts of ornamentations and gamakas. But we wanted to kind of show the children, that we can bring these worlds together, and we wanted to share a little bit about our own backgrounds. And
that's great.
And so we kind of, just put it together.
All right, let's go to this video right now and watch
Okay.
this. All right, we are back with Arun and Trina. Very nice, lovely.
Thank you.
Now, you guys have a new album coming out, right? You're working on?
We do.
So you want to say something about that process and what you're doing with that?
Yeah, so we started as a duo, about 2000? Well, we've been playing music together since 2007.
Hard to say.
So a very long time. But then 6 years later, we said, let's start writing music together and collaborate in a deeper way. So we, for many years, we've been writing music together, but we haven't had a chance to actually record it. We have 2 children, life is busy, there's so much going on. And then during the pandemic, we just thought, let's just do this. Let's make this happen,
Yeah.
So we went into the studio, just a small studio in Brooklyn, and with a great recording engineer, Joe DiJarnett, and we recorded 2 violins, just the 2 of us, like kind of live, all live. And it's original material, as well as a few traditional pieces. All of it is kind of drawing from our background in Indian classical music and also creative improvisation in jazz and definitely Western classical music too. It's kind of all coming together.
So you guys are a bit unusual in that you're a married couple and you work together. And I'm sure that maybe has its challenges at sometimes. But want to talk a little bit about that and what that's like for you guys?
Yeah, it has its challenges. I mean, there's time restrictions, as she mentioned. We're both parents with 2 kids, so there is very often one person has to be with the kids while the other person is doing something else. So getting time to play together is one of the big challenges. But I would say that somebody brought this up the other day. Are you your own worst critics or your biggest supporters? And I say both. And actually, they're both exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because being somebody's harshest critic is also showing really great support. And I
Right.
think that we provide that for each other. We inspire each other. We listen to each other. We learn from each other, and that actually helps a lot. And
Sure.
you know, I think coming from sort of really a Indian classical background, her coming from the Western classical and jazz background, but then going this way and I'm going this way, we find a lot of common ground in the middle, and we're constantly sort of finding new things.
Yeah.
Even on this residency,
yeah.
like we've been just sort of freely improvising, just recording stuff without any plan in mind. And some really cool stuff has come out of it. And I think every time we play, you don't really know what's going to happen next.
How nice.
And
We feel
find that
really
exciting.
fortunate to be
Yeah.
able to make music together.
I bet.
think that that's not always the case. So we
Yeah.
feel very fortunate. And our kids love music, so we're just like passing it on to them.
Yeah.
You know?
So we are running out of time, and I wanted to go right to our third video.
Sure.
This is Mike Block's String Camp.
Yeah.
So can we just go right straight to it?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
All right, very nice. So,
Thank you.
Arun, Ramamurthy, and Trina Basu, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today,
Thank you
World Fusion
so
Show,
much for having us.
and sharing your wonderful music and some of your story. People
Thanks for
will have
having
to
us.
go find you online and
Yes,
and
we
check-
both have websites and
Yeah, that's
check
great.
us
And we'll
out
put
there.
those up
Thank you.
on the link for. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you,
Thank you
Derek.
so
Yeah,
much.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks. All right. Hey, this is Derek Jordan. Thank you for joining us today on the World Fusion Show. It's been great to have you. And we have lots more fantastic shows coming up, so please stay tuned. Now, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsors, Mackenzie Family Charitable Trust, Dean's Beans, Ron Dans, Jeff Green, and Nancy Feinberg for your generous support. Thanks so much. We couldn't do it without you. And remember, as we always like to say on the show, think globally, listen locally, and support independent music.